the EX has flown with the collaborative combat aircraft, the CCA drone in the Pacific. This was a historic flight 5 days ago via social media post saying that over the Philippine Sea during Exercise Valiant Shield 26, it was the future of human-machine teaming in theater. The EX is in the region visiting Kadena, where they're trying to base these to help personnel prepare. And the CCA is the MQ-28 Ghost Bat, which is participating in Valiant Shield to help airmen practice how they operate manned fighters with semi-autonomous drones. There is a picture of what looks to be the EX flying formation off of the MQ-28, which means that's the flight lead. And there's two people in the EX, which hurts my soul. EX and CCA are both expected to be cornerstones of the Air Force future combat, but the CCA is also committed to buying the FQ-42 and FQ-44 from General Atomics and Anduril, respectively. Obviously, the EX is badass, and they're going to buy 267 of them. Nice. This is the first time they've published that. So, Gonky, I bring this up because we've talked about this a lot, and it's good to see it there, but I think this is the perfect use of the EX, even with the backseater, because I guess, you need somebody whose sole job is monitoring, although that's probably somebody in the back for test purposes. That's kind of the way the future is going, right? You'll have the CCAs, you'll have the EX with kind of the quarterback and the missile truck. So you'll have your 20 AMRAAMs and your heaters and then your CCA.
Well, if you look at
warship.
Yeah. If you look at the Pacific, which seems to be the theater that the defense industry is focused on, our current scenario of shortage of pilot, like we talked about the budget last week, not enough money, not enough pilots. So the MQ-28, and the other unmanned aircraft that we have coming online, I think is the response to that void of, hey, we need more metal out there. Like you said, AMRAAM trucks, the ability to even detect, right, to feed the overall picture. It takes a lot of time and money to train a person, and then it takes even more time and money to put systems in an aircraft that can support a human being in it. So, these airplanes are probably a faster, cheaper, not that they're cheap, way to force multiply what we have. And like you said, dude, the EX, and it's crazy. I mean, McDonnell Douglas, design wise, hit it out of the park in the late 60s and 70s, because I mean, dude, the F-15 is still a monster airplane today, like over 50 years from when, it was first flown. Now, the EX, underneath the skin is a completely different airplane, and that's where the magic happens. And I think you're right. We make fun of Eagles because they're big and, not as nimble as our jets were. But in a larger theater like the Pacific, an aircraft like the Eagle, the EX especially, with enhanced range and, power, really, I think it's going to be a good mix. And you touched on it earlier, as far as the tactics right now, I can't imagine, man, being like the air-to-air SME at like Top Gun and at the Air Force Weapons School, because like stuff is probably rapidly changing, right? And the fact that I think it's also telling, Valiant Shield, pretty sure there's probably an air wing involved out there, but they did this in the Philippines, right? So in the Pacific theater to kind of, I don't know what exactly the MQ-28 did, flight wise, but I think it's neat that they are flying it around out there in the Pacific with the EX. So when it comes to the CCA stuff, I mean, the future is kind of exciting. What does it hold for man fighters? Man, I don't know. But, for now, I think it's it's probably, dude, the most viable way to force multiply what we have. And the EX, I think, is probably one of the best airplanes positioned for it.
Yeah, and I think what's notable, because you kind of touched on it, is they're in the Philippines. It's a show of force.
Right.
Like the post and the social media and stuff like that, we're kind of tipping our hand going, here's our, here's kind of what we're going for. And there's two parts, right? When you get something new, it goes through developmental test, it goes through operational test, and then with operational test and kind of, it's like parallel, but after as well, you start getting into the weapons school where they start developing tactics and doing integration and stuff like that. This talked about they're out there developing tactics. I think they're testing tactics from what they've gotten through OTDT and testing them in a large force exercise in the areas of concern. Also, while demonstrating, they took the most mature, because it talked about Anduril and General Atomics, but this one is the most mature of them right now. So they're kind of going out there and kind of showing our allies, showing China, showing other contractors. Like it's a little bit of a demonstration, if you will, of what the capabilities are, because they're watching. I'm sure they got fishing boats out there.
Oh, 100%.
Getting every bit of information and data that they possibly can. And the new technology brings with it both good things and problems. And they're going to iron out the problems, because even though you have operational developmental test, you can't accurately simulate the chaos of an exercise like an exercise or war or combat or stuff. So this is kind of like their crawl, walk, run. They're in the kind of walking to running, jogging phase of this, depending on how they did it. They may have just like limited engagement and said, okay, we're only going to do it in this section or whatever. But I think it's exciting because, it means that we're taking advantage of the EX purchase, the collaborative aircraft purchase, the development of that. And I think you're going to see more of it. And I think the EX is a great platform for it. The F-35 is going to be a good platform for it too. But the EX specifically, because it can carry so many missiles, because of the fuel, because of, even the backseater, if you wanted to have somebody, because that's what everybody else is doing. The Su-57, they're putting a backseat in. The J-20, they're putting a backseat in. Like, it is going towards that. Yeah, it's going toward that crew concept where you've got, one person that flies and the other one is back there. And we've even seen the video. Remember, we've seen the video where they touch the screen like the alien in Independence Day, and like, hey, you die here, you die here. So I think it's fascinating to watch.
Yeah,
it's well beyond my understanding at this point and capability, because I'm a dinosaur now. That this is all cutting edge tech, which is going to have tactics that I've never even imagined.
Yeah, 100%. You bring up a good point. The MQ-28 and the new unmanned stuff they have coming up. I mean, testing them in a test environment is a lot different than putting them out there in an LFE, where I'm sure there's multi-services too. So, hey, how does this thing fit into working with the Navy, Air Force, right? Marines, stuff like that. So it's interesting, man. I don't want to go through the clearance process anymore, but it would have been kind of cool. It's kind of cool to think what they're thinking up as far as tactics with these kinds of weapons.
Send them all down range.
Yeah, dude. Everyone's hostile. Everyone hot. Go.
Yeah. I can't wait for the first blue on blue in training with this thing. Like, what? Yeah. Who owes a keg?
Yeah, dude.
Or if you shoot one of your own CCAs down, do you owe a keg to
then it declares you hostile. It's like, oh no, the ORE. We need to put something in the ORE, because like ChatGPT. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Didn't mean to.
Yeah. You're right to push back.
Exactly. Yes. Dude. My bad.
Yeah. The Ghost Bat was designed by Boeing for the RAF. Yeah, and weren't they the first ones to shoot the AMRAAM? I feel like we did a video on that. Crazy Pete says, "Mover, I'm a dinosaur now. Welcome to the world of FEs." Yeah, flight engineers.